Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, April 21st, 2025. I hope you all had a good Easter. I know we enjoyed having our grandkids here, doing the Easter egg hunt, of course, eating ham and, vegetables and potatoes and all this stuff that goes along with an Easter dinner. And we enjoyed some time with family, of course, and it was a good weekend. I hope many of you have seen. If you haven't, shame on you. I hope many of you have seen the last video that I did, which was paint on the Cobra Jet known as Slither. I'm very happy with it. Of course, I am going to nitpick my own flaws, my own things that I may have missed. I always do that to myself. It's just the way it is, and that's just me. But overall, I am very happy with how the paint laid out, how the clear laid out. Whenever I did the hood and the deck lid and the other pieces, I had some issues with those pieces, and I was really, really, really concerned with getting paint on the main part of the car. I had watched a friend of mine do some paint work on another car and noted some things that he did, and I incorporated those into the process. I also watched a few other videos online, some paint professionals, and looked what they did, and I basically just incorporated most of that. Now, I have painted quite a few times. We all know that. I'm still not excited. I mean, I'm anxious to paint. I don't want to paint, so I get stressed out over it. So I was really kind of worried about this one because I knew that it had to look right. I knew that just a gallon of paint alone is $1,000. So any mistake is technically $1,000 mistake, the way I look at it. So it looks great. I had it out today. I rolled it out in the sun. I took some pictures of it. That's what you see in the thumbnail. And man, I'm very excited about it. Now, I still have to do sanding and buffing and all those sort of things. And there will be more work to do as far as some of the assembly stuff that I will do. But as you know, I'm not finishing this car. I am not doing any mechanical stuff. I am not doing interior or wiring or any of that. So once I'm done with the paint work and it's all finished and I have the stripes on it, I'll probably mount the headlight buckets, some of the trim that goes around the grill opening and the bumpers, maybe some side marker lights, some things like that. But I'm not doing any of the other stuff. I'm just not. So I'm looking forward, though, to getting as much done as I can over the next couple of weeks for sure. And hopefully, before the end of May, I'm done with this car. And it can go back to Charles's wife, Tammy. What's interesting is I think about this. You know, whenever Charles contacted me and we were talking about what we were going to do with this car, and he had a lot of big dreams, and I was going along with what he wanted, obviously, because hey, I'm just a builder. I'm not in charge of it. You're in charge. And so we did go back and forth on some things, and I know that he had talked about putting in, wanted to put the rack and pinion in it, the electric steering, the Chris Alston suspension system. He was looking at having almost a one-off rear end built for the car with a suspension system, and along with that, he had envisioned widening the quarter panels, which I was against from the start, but again, it was his idea. Never did widen them, obviously. I talked him down from that. And over the course of the time working on this car, he would, bring me parts and we would, go over things. And he was very happy with where it was progressing. And of course, we all know he passed away unexpectedly. So one of the things that he wanted, or we talked about, was painting it a different color. And I was against that because I felt like this is the original color. This black jade. It's unique. I'm not necessarily a fan of the black jade, 100%. But now that I've sprayed it and I see what it does, I like it a lot more. Now I'm not going to paint one of my cars that color, but I feel good about how it looks. Charles originally, he had brought me two little cans. They're back over there somewhere. Two cans of a blue, and he wanted to do some sort of a tri-coat blue from a Mazda or something, and I was pretty hesitant about that because I didn't even plan to paint the car, as you all know. I was not. That was not my original agreement. My original agreement was to build the body, add in all the custom stuff that he wanted, get it in primer, and then get it back to him. Things change. And so I did agree with Tammy that I would paint this car for her because stuff that she was being quoted was ridiculous. And I thought, okay, I'll make it right. She wanted to go back with the original color, and so that's what we did. And like I said, I'm very happy with it. I started wet sanding today on the deck lid. I'm going to do some on the hood as well. I have the stencil kit that I want now, so I can black out the hood and black out the cowl panel. And so I need to get those kind of done and get them out of the way. I don't need to have them anywhere near. I might even take them in the house. I don't know, but I need to get those out of the way. So that's where we're at. Again, I hope everybody has seen that video. Oh, and another thing, I'm working on the latest video, and it's dealing with the wet sanding and stuff. But I have, in fact, it's on this little memory card. I had filmed an overhead shot with my Insta 360 camera. I think I used this before when I sprayed primer. And this will give you like a bird's eye view of the whole process. The problem is they have their proprietary editing software. So I can't just load this information into my editing software. And reason for that is my desktop computer that I use in the house, it broke down. So I was unable to do the editing that I wanted with this information. And the computer people called me today because it's at the shop getting redone or whatever. And so it should be hopefully done tomorrow. Now, I may try to put some of this into the next video. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. But that's where we're at. So, enough rambling. Let's see who's here tonight. And first in, Rick Stevenson. Welcome, Rick. And Rick has provided me with some fresh coffee. Thank you, Rick. Always good to have a supply of coffee. Dave Tyson, good evening all. Hope everybody had a good Easter. Likewise, Dave. David, the bowler hat guy. Good evening, Barry. Hello, everyone. Hello, David. Boy, the bell is spot on tonight so far. Terry Keithley, good evening, everyone, and Barry. Hope you all had a great Easter. Please hit the thumbs up and like button for Barry. Thank you kindly, Terry and Betty and the cats. Welcome, Terry and Betty. Glad you're here. And he also says the paint on Slither looks fantastic. I'm very happy with it. So thank you for that. Black GTX, Mark, good evening from sunny Minnesota. We actually topped 60 degrees today. I'm okay with that. 60 degrees is good. I like 60. Roger, Hindsight 67, greetings from next door. Greetings. Oh, and I sent Roger some pictures this past week. I saw, I don't know if it was on Instagram or what, because Roger and I used to race, dirt track cars and stuff. And apparently they're making these like quarter scale NASCAR glorified go-karts. And I just thought it was so cool because these things, they said they'll do 75 miles an hour on a short track. And there's pictures of these things going around in mass. And they look like the old 90s, 2000s Winston Cup style cars. I just thought that was pretty cool. Something else I'll probably never get to do. Troy Justin, greetings from coastal Georgia. Nice job on a Cobra Jet. Painting makes me nervous. Yes, yeah, I don't, like I said in my video, I would rather cut a car in half and weld it back together than to do the paint work. Travis Holtman, my #1 patron. Good evening, everyone. I hope your day has been good, Barry. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And it has been good so far. Steve Reed. Hello, Barry and everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. And give Barry a thumbs up for doing great work and great information. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. You know, I always mention that I try to share whatever I can with people so that they can do their projects. Unlike a lot of other YouTubers who just don't. C&J Hoyt, good evening all. Paint's looking good. Thank you, C&J. Appreciate that. We have Jiggy JC. Okay. Evening all. I finally made it to live stream, checking in from Stockbridge, Georgia, while test fitting my torque boxes before buzzing them in. Awesome, Jiggy. I may have to stop over there and look at what you're doing sometime. Never know. Robert, the Infernal Craftsman. Evening all. The biggest swap meet in the country is this weekend. I will be there Friday, weather permitting. Hope some of you are there too. Lots and lots of walking. Thank you, Robert. Glad you're here. Gig'em Garage. Good evening, Barry. Good evening, Barry. Kevin Barth here. Cars looking good. Looking dude. Thank you, Kevin. I know, you meant to say good. I get it. David, happy Resurrection Day. Likewise, David. Dave Conville, good evening all. Slither is looking sharp. Yes, thank you, Dave. I agree. Rusty's Restoration. Good evening, Barry, and all from Southern Indiana. The Cobra Jet looks great. Thumbs up all. Thank you, Rusty. Glad you're here. Robert, Slither looks great. I like the color, but need to see it in person to see if I like it on the car or not. Yeah. Well, you're welcome. Come on by. You know, I had somebody comment on my Facebook post, and they said, it looks really gray. And I guess at a certain angle, it does look really gray. I had it sitting outside, and my wife actually came out and saw it. And she walked back and looked at it, and she's like, she said, it looks really green. She could really see the green coming out. But it, with the sun hitting at a certain angle, it has a gray kind of feel to it. Other angles, it's definitely got a green. And in the shade, it really leans towards black. I mean, it definitely looks black or more black in a shaded area. So it's an interesting color. Mark, the paint looks great. Are you going to cut and buff before doing the hood stripes? Yes. Now, what that really means is I'm going to cut and buff I'm working on the deck lid, and I'm going to work on, the hood has just a little bit of stuff in it. So my focus on the hood is just to get any dust nibs out of it before it has, any of the black put on it. As I mentioned, I think I do have the new stencil kit, and I'm going to, take care of all the hood that you'll see, the painted part that you will see. So I will address that, make sure it's all smoothed out nice, and then I'll do some basically test fitting of the stripe kit, make sure everything lines up the way it's supposed to, and scuff it and black it out. Now, the one thing I've been thinking about, and I was looking at this kit, and let me just pull it out of the box and show you real quick, because this kit, this is a 1/4 inch kit. I don't want to show you that one. Never mind. Let me grab the 1/8 inch kit. So, not that it matters. It's the same process. But this is the 1/8 inch kit. Now, I was looking at this, and I realized that the black goes all the way onto the cowl as well. And I was a little concerned because I was thinking, what do I have here? I've got this front section, right? There's two front sections. I don't know why, but there's two of those. And that goes across the front of the nose of the hood. So then you have, this would be the driver's side. I'm just saying, I don't know which I don't know what's sticky. Let's say this is driver's side. And then over here you have, let's say, passenger side, right? So you have that one. And then you have two real long runs, and then you have two shorter runs. And I say shorter, but they're almost 2 feet long, these shorter pieces. So I'm going to safely assume, you know how that is, that these pieces will go across the cowl. Even though the cowl is not even a foot wide, these two pieces, I mean, you can see how long those are. And so I also want to note that the factory, where the stripe comes back at the end of the hood and at the cowl, it stops about 3/8 of an inch short. So I want to replicate that. I don't want to take the stripe over the edge of the hood, and I don't want to take it over the cowl. So I'm going to try to replicate that as well. And I think, you know, I've never done these, so this is going to stress me out. I will say that. This is going to make me anxious. So I want to make sure, you know, I wish this was all one piece, basically, instead of two halves. But I have to, it is what it is. So I have to get the hood looking as good as it needs to look, and then lay out the stripes and scuff the whole thing and make sure it's ready to go. So another thing I noted, and I'm going to make a note of this on the new video that I'm making, the stripes on the side of the hood, on the original hood, I guarantee you those were laid out by hand. Like they didn't have a template per se. They probably had a template for the main area, but the pinstripe on the side, there's no way. I measured the passenger side gap between the main black area and the pinstripe, and it was 3/8 of an inch. Today, I happen to look at the opposite side, and they have the stripe so far off, it's almost 3/8 of an inch to the edge of the hood. It's like somebody had a brain fart, and they said, okay, 3/8 of an inch, and then they did it opposite on the other side to where it's almost like it's, you know, if it's supposed to be 3/8 and a half, it's like they switched it because the stripe goes wide on the other side, on the driver's side. I just thought that, and I'm not going to replicate that. No. Just because they did it wrong doesn't mean I'm going to do it wrong. C&J, on the Cobra Jet, what are you doing color-wise to dash and inner doors? Really not going to do much of anything. The doors themselves, the door panel comes all the way down to the bottom edge of the door. I made sure, first of all, I made sure I had enough, that bottom section, I did paint it so it's the correct color. But using the original doors as a reference point, there's screw holes. And then I looked online to make sure that I found imagery of door panels for a 69, and they have that carpet section at the bottom, and there's screws, almost random screws going into the door. So all I really needed to focus on was getting color on the front, the very bottom, and the back, where the latch goes. So all that's addressed. The hood, the dash itself, I don't have that piece. That's down in Florida. I'm assuming that it's supposed to be black. I think they were all black. I don't think I've seen those painted body color. So it should remain like a flat black. So good question. Denny Alvey. Good evening from Paducah, Kentucky. The paint on the 69 looks great. If you're going to scuff and buff, I would look at 3M Trizac on a DA sander. It is a game changer. You basically polish it. Okay. Well, what I normally do, I've not tried that. So I tend to go with what I know. Basically, I go through a sequence of sanding with maybe 1,200, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, and then I cut, or then I buff. and I do 3 rounds of buffing. That's what I know. So I don't know that I want to experiment with something new that I'm not familiar with, but I do appreciate the input. Glad you're here. Michael Pagliarini, evening all from Rhode Island. The Cobra Jet is looking awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Ronald Alcorn, good evening all. Good evening, Ronald. Welcome. Norris Nat, Jeff. Hey, Barry. Hey, Jeff. Glad you're here. Art Man, evening from Minnesota. Got my car out of storage and running last weekend. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Robert, yeah, 360 cameras all have to go through their own software before being exported, as the editing software can't handle 360-degree image files. Yes. So I did a bunch of video with that 360 camera before, and I edited using their software. And the problem is that I have that software on my desktop computer. My laptop doesn't really have the capability. I did load the programming on here, and I took one segment of video and I put it on, and it basically said, come back in a week. Come back in a week when this is done editing. And I was like, that ain't happening. So Jeff's Train World, HONO Gauge. Hi, everyone. Hi, Jeff. And he says, hey, I'm selling the Mustang. I can't work on it anymore. It's a 1966 convertible with 302 automatic trans. It needs brakes and an oil leak on the power steering lines. Had hip surgery. Can't work on it anymore. Okay. I don't know if I've seen the car or not. I don't know. But if somebody's interested, maybe we can work something out. But I'm glad to hear it anyway. Troy Justin, I told the Mustang Club fan about your channel. They didn't know about you. I hope you get more viewers. I do too. You know, it's still frustrating. It is still so frustrating. I don't know. I try not to get on the soapbox about it, but it's really up to YouTube. They're going to promote stuff. You know, I was thinking about this earlier today. There's that, and I don't want to use the wrong term. Doofus, maybe that's the word I want to use. I don't know. Some guy that has he does diesel whistling stuff where he just destroys things and gets like millions and millions of views because idiocracy is a real thing. Yeah, I'm like, what? But hey, it is what it is. You know, people want to be maybe loosely entertained by some of this stuff. I don't know. It's just frustrating. But I'm glad everybody is here. That's for sure. Steve Reed, hope everyone had a great Easter weekend. Thank you, Steve. Jeff says, unless I can get someone here to work on it for me, I need a hoist. Okay. Robert, are you going to get a spray bottle of the decal goo or hope for the best? I don't know yet. I don't know what if this recommends something. I haven't looked at any of the instructions. I know that in the past when I've put stripes on, we have wetted it down so that they can slide around a little bit. I'll have to look at the instructions a good bit and see what it comes up with. So I don't even know what's available. So if any you have any links or anything, send it to me so I know. Hardman can't see both sides at the same time. LOL. Yeah, that's true. But if you stand in the middle and you look at that hood, you can see the difference. Daryl Horvath, hello from Toronto. Hello everyone from Toronto. Tonneau cover off the 67 fastback. Beautiful result on Slitherberry. Well done. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Jeff, it's hard when you can't move like you want and nobody around here knows how to work on antique automobiles. Yeah, it's hard even when you can move. Rick Gain, whoever mounts the engine in the cylinder better be really careful so they don't scratch the paint. Yeah, I agree. And um, that's something that's going to have to be considered down the road. Like the way I look at it, the hood's going to have to come back off. The front fenders might have to come back off. I don't know. I don't know. It's I don't even want to think about it, to be honest. I don't want to think about it. I don't know what the engine's going to be. I don't know when they're going to have it. I don't know. I don't know. It makes me anxious because I know the effort I'm putting into this to make everything look right. And yeah, I'm with you 100%. They better be careful. Tim Miller got light from Harbor Freight. It was not fit, made OD bigger. So you're talking about this light? You got one of those and it didn't work? Because this in the box there were two of these retainers. So you could upscale or downscale the carrier. So let me just open this box up real quick. There were two of these. There's an A and a B version, and so I have the A on there, and this is the bigger one. And the ones I got work great. And let me tell you, this thing really made a difference. It really did. I was already anxious about it, like I said, and I started spraying, and it just, you could see what was happening. Worth it. $40. I wish I had an Amazon link to send y'all. I'd say get it from there, but I don't think they have it. So yeah, but I don't know if there's something different with your gun, Tim, or you're saying it would not fit. It was made bigger. It's okay. Yeah, I don't know. It worked on mine. Daryl, with the Mustang 2 suspension, can you put slither on the lift and lowered on the engine like a Mopar? No. No. In fact, it'll be a bit more challenging because wait a minute. Okay, yeah. So no, the 69 does not have the Mustang 2 suspension. It has the factory suspension. So no, there's no way to do that. If that's what you're talking about, the one I just painted, right? The 69. That has all the stock style suspension under it, cross member, all that. So yeah, it's going to have to come in from the top. I don't want to think about that. Don't make me think about that. That was one of the reasons I didn't want to really get into it, because I know that there's complications with the engine and the transmission for that car. I know that there's issues with what's left of it or whatever, and I don't know what path they're on to try to remedy that. So I just don't even want to pursue putting it back together. So, hey, Matco Man. Hello, everybody. Hello, sir. Glad you're here. David, you should get Harbor Freight to sponsor. Yeah, I wouldn't mind, but I don't think they do that kind of thing. Daryl says yes, and he also says you have so many cars going, I can't keep track. Yeah, I know. But even if it had the Mustang 2 style suspension, you can't come in from the bottom because that's all welded. That system is welded to the frame rails. There are no variables. It's locked in at that point. Um, so it would be kind of interesting if you could do that, though. Mark says it's the only way to go, Daryl. Yeah. I mean, it was, you think about it, all the modern vehicles, like modern front wheel drive cars, they've all got that cradle system. So everything is attached to the cradle. Basically, you take lines and wiring loose and drop the four main bolts, and you drop everything out in one shot. And that's fine. I mean, that really does make it better from a maintenance standpoint. I know, like I had to fix the oil leak on my daughter's Kia years ago. I did a video on it. I think I did 2 videos on it. And the fix was to pull everything out, pull the engine, transmission. That's how you were supposed to do it. And I skirted that. I went around and I figured out I had to take the oil pan off too. And I couldn't take it off because the crossmember was in the way. But I could drop it down far enough that I could take things apart and get them, reach in there and get it back together. So it was one of those things. Ideally, it would have been better if I could have to drop everything out from under that thing. But at times, there's certain jobs you can't. I had no way to do that, and so I fixed it in the driveway, and it did great. It lasted another 130,000 miles or something before I think the head gasket finally blew on it. So I think we had 265,000 miles on that Kia, which is shocking. Terry Keithley, after the car leaves, take a long vacation to Bora Bora. Yeah, there is no vacation for me. There is no vacation time. Got other stuff to do. Tuss the Artist. Interesting name. Glad you're here, Tuss. I have a 68 GT my grandfather gave me before he passed. It's going to be a lot of work, but I know it'll be worth it in the end. I agree with that. Yes. That's awesome. Man, 68 GT owned by your grandfather. Yeah. Yeah. Take care of it. Cherish it. Make it right. Daryl, the question is now, put the engine by itself, then add the tranny, or put the whole thing in at once. That depends on the skill set of the operator. I would rather, I don't know. If you have a good hoist system, and you've got one of those engine, I don't know what you call them, the sling that you can crank the handle and it'll rotate the center mass. That is, you could probably get away with it with that. Don't put any fluids in anything, and get it to angle super steep and walk it down in. So that's the way I see it. But I think I did that with Jade. I put the engine and tranny in together like that, steep. With a big block, it might be a bit challenging. And I don't know what the capacity is. Like, I don't know how much room is between the firewall and the back of the engine if you're trying to put the transmission up from underneath. I don't know. And that's another reason I don't really want to do it. Because, like I said, I don't know what the status is on whatever engine they're going to end up with, or the transmission. Like the rear end in that car, I didn't do anything to it because it was so rusted and pitted. It would have just taken a whole new housing to make it look good. So whoever's going to take it over, they're going to take it apart and have to redo some things underneath on that. But I didn't do any work to the differential at all. Hey, Matco says you just use a lot of bubble wrap. Yeah, multiple layers of heavy tape. I don't even know if I'd want to use tape. I don't know. You got to have all hands on deck whenever you're putting something like that together, though. Rick says, are you still keeping track of the hours you're spending on Slither? If so, what's the count up to? I am not. I made arrangements with Tammy that when I finished the car, the body, when I did all the body work, had the metal work all done, I kind of drew a line in the sand and said, that's where I'm stopping counting the hours. And the reason for that, we had come to an agreement on the paint process. And I gave her a max dollar figure that I would not go over, basically. Now, doesn't mean I'm going to charge that? No. But I wanted to give her a parameter and say this is the high end. And from there, I just did what I needed to do to get it to the paint process. Now, the nice part about a lot of this was Charles had already bought the primers and sealants and all that sort of thing, so that kind of helped as well. But I did have to buy the paint and the clear coat and all that sort of thing. And of course, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, papers and sanding discs and all those things. But I did not keep track of any of the hours for the paint process. I didn't feel like I needed to at that point. I know roughly what it's going to cost, and I know what I expected time-wise, so I just made an agreement with her on that. Okay, so Terry's answering the question, transmission separate, I think, and he says no in case they screw up something. I think that's what he's responding to. I think. I know the timing is out of sync on this. Tuss says, what is your biggest obstacle when restoring? Ooh, that's a tough question. I don't know. The thing that stresses me the most is paint. That would be my biggest mental obstacle. I have physical obstacles, back and knee, stuff like that tend to hinder me. But for me personally, I don't have, and I'm not here to pat myself on the back. I don't have any real animosity about any of it when it comes down to it. So like doing all the metal work, that is my main thing. I love doing the metal work. Putting in suspension, I have no problem with doing any of that. It's just mechanical things, you just put it together. Now, when it gets more complicated is whenever you're doing custom stuff. So like I put mini tubs in the 69. So that took some finesse to get that to look right. And, there's complications when it comes to, and I say complications, there's some complications in a way when it comes to like wiring. So if you're using an original wiring harness, that's good. But if you have an issue with that harness, you could have more problems and not know it. Like you might be chasing something down that shouldn't be broken, or you're getting, mixed signals or something, wires are broken or corroded or something like that. So wiring can be a bit of a hassle. New harnesses obviously help with that and make it easier. I don't know that I have. I think probably the biggest obstacle is my time. Like I only have so much time left in this world. And we all have that. And so when I'm doing these cars, I love doing them. I really do enjoy working on these cars, and I have a lot of people that want me to do these projects for them. But it's like I have to turn people down a lot because I can't get to it. I just can't. There's no way to make more time than I have available. So I don't know if that really answers your question or not, but that's kind of where I'm at. But thank you for that. Mercury Man, good evening, everyone. Evening, sir. Art Man says, Matco Man, pull noodles, and I got a buckleless belt from Matco once upon a time. Really helps with preventing scratches, I used to wear a normal belt sideways. Oh, okay, that's some good advice. That's some good advice. Daryl, whatever happens, we all know you have a great body and paint guy. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. But I get to a point where um, once I'm done with a car and it's gone, I like never want to see it again. I mean, nothing wrong with it. I'm just like, okay, I'm done. What's next? I know I hate to backtrack, and if something happens, I don't want to have to redo it. So, Dave says you were not going to paint at the start. No, I was not. Um, it's um, I just didn't want to paint it. I didn't, and Charles knew that, and he was trying to encourage me to to paint it, and I really, like I said, it stresses me out. So I'd rather cut and weld and fabricate and do all that stuff. We all know I can paint, right? I know I can paint, but it's one of those things. And I think I've gotten a little more comfortable with it as I've done more and more projects. And I realize I can do this or I can do that. My techniques have get better, but it still doesn't mean I want to paint. But I will. Dave Britton, hello, Dave. Glad you're here. Oh, so Terry was saying no to Bora Bora, so they can't get in touch with you to tell you they shipped the paint. Ah, yes. Okay, I get it. So it tells me to go to Bora Bora, so they nobody can contact me. Yeah. I have Bootney, Bootney the rapper. Yo, Joe Daddy. Yo, Bootney. I almost want to say booty, but it's Bootney. I have to get the N in there. Rick Gain, my girlfriend passed away 15 years ago today. Remembering Charles is bringing out a lot of emotions too. It's really wonderful that you continued on his dream. Well, thank you, Rick. It gets rough for me sometimes whenever I'm doing some of this stuff, and I think about Charles and what he wanted to do and his vision and all that sort of thing, and I know that he would be very excited. He would be very excited to see where the car is right now. So that makes me feel good about it, for sure. Rick Watley, I'm late again. Or Rich Watley. That's all right, Rich. Glad you're here. Mercury Man, Barry, have you ever worked with a partner on restoring cars? Maybe mentor someone. Well, yes and no. We had that body shop for like 7 years. And prior to the body shop, I did have a partner, so to speak. And what we were doing before we got into the body shop, we were working together but separately. So, like, I would do body work and fix things up and get it right. And then it would go to his house, which was like 20 some miles from here, and he would paint them. And he would finish putting them back together. And so we didn't work like side by side with that. And then when we took over and the body shop, then we were right next to each other, working, and we worked well together. We really did. He had his things that he could do, and I had my things that I could do, which was, welding and body work and fabrication, and, he could do mechanical stuff and assembly and paint. So we did work well together, but that fell apart due to some complications. Now, I don't have anybody that I know of. I will say this, I've had people encourage me to let their kids come over and work with me. Or ask me, hey, can I bring over my son and let him work with you. And um, that that's not something on my agenda. It's just not. I already have enough limitation with what time I have, and trying to teach a younger person who may or may not have any aptitude for it or interest in it isn't really where I want to be. If I were like in a school setting, I'd be okay with it. But when I'm at my home garage and I'm trying to get stuff done, then I can't just stop and I don't want to do all that. So it's a great idea, but I just don't see it happening. Uh, I don't know how to say. What am I looking at? Malarix. Been watching for a while since I first got my 69. Since then, the complete floor assembly has been replaced, and now I need to do the quarters. Thanks for the guidance and inspiration. Awesome. Glad you're here and checking in. And look, I've said it before. If you're here and you're watching, give a thumbs up. Get involved. Be part of the process. If you're watching my videos, by all means, make sure you leave a thumbs up and a comment. Get traction on YouTube so that people know what I'm doing and they can see what I'm doing. Every little bit helps with that. And of course, I, I thank my patrons. Many of you are on here supporting me, and that's really my motivation at this point. Richard, good evening, Barry. I'm late again. Loved your Mach 1 painting video. Lots of awesome tips. Thank you, Richard. Hopefully everybody takes advantage of that and uses that for their builds. Rich, I never did any auto body sheet metal welding until starting on my 67. I built a lot of things over the years, just no auto body, and learned a lot from your channel. Well, that is awesome. I'll give you another bell. I like to hear that. Somebody who's willing to maybe step out of their comfort zone and try to do these things. Fantastic. Fantastic. Hey, Mecca man, my biggest obstacle in restoring my fastbacks is stay focused in one direction. And that's not uncommon. That's not uncommon. I know that there's many days I'm at a certain point, like when I'm doing the paint work, I almost have to have, and I'm not saying a visual roadmap, but I have to create a map in my head that's saying, okay, I want to do this. I need to get the door here, but I need to make sure I have plastic block this, that sort of thing. And then I just try to follow that sort of roadmap that I create to get everything done. And it works, but it's hard to stay, like I said, focused on one direction, in one direction sometimes. Travis, any value in a coupe with no VIN, no title, a little rusty, no fenders? When it says no fenders, are you saying no doors, no hood, no trunk lid? Or does it have doors, hood, and trunk lid? Front frame rails are good as well as rears. Roof and quarters are full of Bondo. And I think I saw something where you said it was a 1970. I don't know that there's any value to that, especially with no VIN. It might be a good donor if somebody wanted to create a fastback, maybe, but I don't know what all would be usable from that. But without a VIN, it doesn't really help. So I can't say there's a whole lot of value in it. The only thing I will say is, and not that I would push myself to get another one, but when I was a teenager, I had a 1970 coupe with a 6-cylinder and a 3-speed manual. Never got to get the car on the road, but there's times where I'm like, maybe one day, but no, it's not going to happen. But I don't see much value in that particular car, Travis. Rick, I have my girlfriend's old Jeep Wrangler, had plans for it, but life situations are requiring that I sell it. Not an easy thing to do. Yeah, that's there's lots of things that we deal with life, with parents and family, and um, you know, I still think about. I was up at the junkyard 2 weeks ago, and every time I go up there, I just think about my brother and all that sort of thing, and how things could have been different or and better. Or, just there's a lot of memories there, and it's hard with losing somebody and then having to uh, you know process all of that. So I feel you, Rick. Bootney, I got a 68 coupe doing a fastback conversion. Unfortunately, the only workspace I have is a sloped driveway, but I have a leveler and 4 scissor jacks to dial in the leveling. Okay, well that's a good start. Luger, Brazil, the sound is a little low. Okay, is anybody else having sound issues? If so, let me know. And Travis did say it was a 1970. Daryl, just a suggestion, since there are many newcomers to your channel, please don't remove any of your previous video playlists. They are a wealth of information. I agree with that. Um, I, and I really wish those older videos or some of them would get more traction. I mean, they did have a lot of traction at one point, but I feel like now everything is like Peterson. He'll post a video and get 10 or 20,000 views in a couple days. And the video doesn't have much information in it. It's just him putting some pieces, pushing pieces together. And I'm like, well, I have some videos that are similar to that, but they're buried. It's like I know I've had some, YouTube has actually suggested to me that I reboot videos, like repost, make them new again, because once they get it like almost like archived, nobody's going to find them. It's just the reality. They don't, unless they're looking specifically on my channel and going through my playlists, it's unlikely they're going to find a video. But yeah, they're still there. And Daryl says, by the way, you'd be perfect for your own TV show. Well, yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. I don't know if I could do a actual hands-on work type video program. I have had ideas, and I've been offered. Well, I'll say offered. I was contacted for 2 different TV shows in the past, and obviously neither one of them came into fruition for me. One of them was American Restorations, and they wanted me to do like appliances, like Rick from Vegas, the Rick's Restorations. They were rebooting that, and they wanted me to like bring in an old Coke machine or something and redo it. And I was like, that's not my thing. I could do it, but that's not my agenda, And there was another TV show that it was kind of like, what's my car worth type of thing. And it was, this guy went around and somebody would have some sort of hot rod, and it was obvious the guy who was on the show, the host, really didn't have a clue what he was doing. They interviewed me twice for that, and the guy that they hired in, he was asking these people questions like, what kind of tires are those? And they would say they're Goodrich or whatever. And oh, that's fantastic. And it was just like he didn't even understand what he was looking at. And I was like, man, you're missing the mark here. You don't ask people about the tires on the car. You ask them about the wheels, or you ask them about what kind of suspension they have, or what kind of brakes they have, what upgrades they made, stuff like that. And I saw the show like one time, and I was like, well, this isn't going to last. And it didn't, because they didn't have the right idea, I think, for the show. But thank you, Daryl. Richard, I was also very impressed with your run removal video. I never knew this technique existed. Yeah. I mean, it works. It works. I did another video for a run removal in the past on the light blue Mustang 65, and it had some runs on the door, and I did a totally different technique, and I used a razor blade, and I scraped them down, and then sanded them out, and it came out fantastic. So there's always more than one way to skin a run out of a door. Bob Shoemaker, yes, late again. The paint does look great. Color grows on you the more you look at it. Good job. Well, thank you, Bob. Yes, I agree. Let me get a drink of my coffee. Got to have my coffee. Okay. Rich. I keep wanting to say Rick. Sorry, Rich. I can send you some pictures if you want. I mini-thought my car, then I realized how bad the quarters were, and I had to cut it all. I wouldn't even consider it without your videos. Oh, man. I'm sorry you had to go through all that. I got to download a picture that Mark sent me. I mean, you can send me some pictures if you like. That's fine. My email's JoeDaddy'sGarage, just like it here, without the apostrophe S, JoeDaddy'sGarage@gmail.com. Michael, have you tried using a TIG welder for sheet metal? I have been trying to learn from a YouTuber. Not as easy as MIG. Not proficient yet to use it on the Mustang. I have done a little bit of TIG welding. Now, I will say this. I did a video recently for the Yes Welder DP200, which is on the other side of this car. And Yes Welder wants me to do another video with the TIG function and with the aluminum spool gun function. And so we're going through some things on that right now. I'm not saying it would help necessarily, but with a TIG is tricky. With a MIG, it's almost like, to me, it's just like taking a pencil and writing something, or scribbling. It's that's the way I feel about it. It's just like, it's not. I don't hear the crackle that I want. Let me make some adjustments. Okay, now I got the bacon sound. I'm good. Stuff like that. But TIG, it feels totally different because you're using different things. You're using your foot pedal, and you got to get the feed right and all that sort of thing. So I may be doing something more with the DP200 once Yes Welder contacts me back. Travis, okay, I'm going to cut it up this weekend. I thought so. Yeah, I wouldn't save it. Terry Keithley, when I kick the bucket, burn me with my HVLP on a gallon of Rage Ultra and a bottle of Rage Ultra, a gallon of Rage Ultra, sorry, and a bottle of Bailey's. Okay. Make sure that you have that so Betty knows. You may want to just create a little pile and keep it ready, just in case. Buck's Woodshop, that paint job is looking great. Thank you, sir. Hey, by the way, I'm just going to give a shout out to Buck's Woodshop. Okay? Buck has been following me, and I've been following him for quite some time. And I know that he did a lot of like woodworking videos. He had a property further south of here. I guess I don't know if he still has it or not. You can tell me or not. But he has moved relatively closer to me. But he's making signs. Okay? He's got a Facebook page, and he's making these signs that are like incredible. Replica signs, like a Coca-Cola sign, but it's all wood with a epoxy resin in it. And he's doing those. He's doing he did one for Buc-ee's the other day. And so if you haven't followed him, I don't know if you're doing Matt, I don't know if you're putting them on your YouTube channel or not, but I know I see them, and especially on Instagram, that's where I see them the most. So I'm like, man, that's really cool stuff you're doing. So little shout out to you, Matt, with Buck's Woodshop. Mercury Man, Travis, keep anything salvageable. Yeah. Yeah, not a bad idea. Sharon Morris, hi, haven't been on in a while. Retired now. Hope to start working on my Mustang soon. Awesome. That sounds good. Okay, Travis says, I will have another 70 coupe with original quarter panels with almost no rust. All rails are good. Going to sell it if you're interested. Well, maybe. I can't commit to anything right now. I know that. Uh, I have way too much going on. Steve Reed, it's low sound here too. Okay, I don't know what else to do. I'll turn the volume up almost to max on the little microphone that I have. So I don't know if it's that or what. But Rich, I made up my car and realized how bad the quarters were. Bondo, from your videos, I cut the quarters out and replaced both full quarters, no seams. Also did valance and outer wheel houses. Man, that's awesome. You get another bell for that. And he says, I would not have attempted it if I hadn't seen your videos of Jade. I did a lot over the last 10 months. That's awesome. That is awesome. Okay. I have to pull up a picture. Mark sent me this. And we were talking about pulling the engine from underneath the car, if you had a Mopar. And so he sent me this picture. So there you go. Easy way to pull a big block, I'm assuming a big block, out of your Mopar. Nice. Okay. I lost my spot here. Hold on. Mark, I got hooked on J Daddy's Garage watching the Bronco build. Well, thank you, sir. That was another one that I wasn't really planning to do. I had started on, I think I got the Cobra Jet, and I had a window of opportunity to get the Bronco done and painted. And that was a friend of mine. And so, yeah, I was really happy with how that turned out. Really happy with how that turned out. Matco, the only value for that car is a Saturday night dirt track car. Talking about Travis's car. Yeah. Denny, I can see it now. Joe Daddy's Dynasty. LOL. Yeah. Yeah. That might be good. I even thought about, obviously Joe Daddy's is my title, my name. And I, for simplicity's sake, if we had a, Barry's Builds or something like that as a variation, but it's all right. I'll stick with the Joe Daddy. Mercury Man, Peterson's vids are for people not interested in doing their own work. His vids are for show only. Yeah, I agree. Well, that's his business. He has a business. He's got it. He's not one person. He actually has a group of people that work either for him or with him that build stuff. He's not doing it by himself. He does show those builds or that section where he's doing it by himself in that one part of the garage. But if you back out and you look, they'll have 8 or 10 cars going, So it's his business and it's promoting his business, which I get. I understand. Dawn checking in. Hello. Late, but at least I'm here. Well, I hope it's sunny out in PDX. David, maybe reload old playlists with new updated voiceover. That's not a bad idea. I could do that. That's not a bad idea at all. Now I have to just find more time. Rich, I would like to see you experiment with the MIG dual pulse function. That's supposed to be the ticket for auto body welding. Some videos I've seen make it look very impressive. Yeah, I'm going to have to look into it because when I made that video, it was like they didn't ask for anything specific. They just kind of wanted me to do an unboxing, assembly, function type of video. Now, I've done other videos for Yes Welder that even had more detail, some of their older machines, but I didn't, I'll be honest, I really didn't research it. I skimmed through the book. I got the idea of what it was supposed to do, and I went with it. And so I have to follow that up with a better video for the dual pulse function. That would make sense. David, are you going to be using Fangled in your Yes Welder video? At some point, like I won't be, like I wouldn't have a dedicated, how do I put it? I would not make the Yes Welder video and have Fangled as part of it. I don't think that'll happen because I'm not ready for that. I'm not at a point where I can, do the welding. But as it progresses, I will be using that welder on Fangled, if that makes sense. Buck says, still here south of you. Okay. Yeah, you'll have to stop in another time. I know you visited before. You have to come back again sometime. Artman, Greed, Peterson viewers aren't interested in learning how to do it themselves. Yeah, you're right. Bucks Woodshop, yeah, YouTube Shorts too. Yes, YouTube Shorts. That's where I've seen a good many of your signs. So let me tell you, it's really cool stuff. I look at that and go, could I, should I, would I? No, I'm not going to do it. Robert says YouTube has a stable volume in the settings now and can sometimes make videos too quiet. Oh, so you're talking about the volume itself on, yeah. And that's the thing that I always struggle with when I'm editing a video. And a lot of you don't. This is something nobody really thinks about. So when I'm filming, and my camera's in a paint booth, but I'll use this camera as a reference, okay? If I'm holding the camera this way and I'm talking to it, right? I have the camera in front of me. The sound is ideal. It's nice. If I turn the camera around, now it's almost like too loud. Whatever the microphone is on these things, it is almost too loud. So if I'm making a video and I go from a transition from this space into the paint booth and I'm talking, I adjust everything. I do. So I don't want the videos to be loud and quiet and loud and quiet. And I try to make sure it's got a smooth flow and everything sounds good. And so sometimes I have to snip a section and adjust the volume just a little bit to try to get an even flow. And there's probably an easier way to do it, but I don't know for sure. But I know I do adjust all my videos to make the sound good. So I don't know if there's something going on with the live stream that is affected by that, but art sound is good here for me. In the past, things on my phone are quiet, and if I was listening to music on Bluetooth and then switch to something else. Okay. Dave Britton, I think I first started watching when you were doing the baby blue Mustang. Yeah, and that was quite some time ago, because I'd started a 2000. I don't know if it was 2011 or 2012 when I was doing. I started doing Jade videos because I had left the body shop, and I'm on my live stream right now. There we go. So I had left the body shop, and sorry, I had a visitor, and I started doing Jade videos. And as I was working my way through Jade, that's when I got contacted to take on the light blue Mustang, and so that's what I ended up doing, was jumping into that. And so yeah, that's been a while. So I'm glad you're still with me, Dave. Appreciate you. Maureen, good night, fellow 10th Mountain. It's time to put the kiddo to bed. Keep up the live times you started a few years ago. Yes, I will. Terry Keithley, I got to watching you when you did the 65 Galaxy. Oh, okay, yeah, that was back in the body shop days. That was before Jade. Rick Stevenson, first video of yours I watched was torque boxes on Jade. Yes, and that was really within the first 2 or 3 videos of Jade. So yeah, I'm glad you stuck around for all that. And I must give a shout out to you for providing me with coffee. Daryl Horvath, mine was Jade's radiator, 3-part video, have been hooked since. Awesome. Awesome. Dave Britton, volume is normal for me, no problems. And Travis says your audio level is fine. Okay. Rich, there are 78 watching in here and only 48 thumbs up. Come on, guys. It's not difficult. Hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow. Yes, it does. Thank you for that. Daryl says I can hear you loud and clear. Awesome. Good to hear. Let's see. Dawn says, yes, PDX is sunny and warm. Good painting weather. Too bad I'm still stuck in the basement fixing electronics. No, okay. But at least you know how to do that. That's a big plus. Dave Britton, in regards to you doing your videos, would you ever do anything different if you were to start over? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes to that. And the reality is, as I mentioned before, when I started making videos, the intent was to showcase stuff we could do at the body shop. And the idea was if we could have, people could see what we could do, they would contact us maybe and ask us to do their vehicles. So that was kind of how we wanted to get that ball rolling. YouTube was pretty new to us at that point. I've been doing this for a long time. And I know that for me, I was doing all of my, I don't have one here. I had those little handheld cameras, and that's all we really had, a little tiny camera. And the quality was not good. I'll say that. The video quality was not great. The sound was okay. The editing software was outdated even when I was using it. It was whatever was available on Windows. It was like just a simple editing thing. And so I could see where, had I improved with my video equipment, my editing software, I could have been making really good videos a long time ago. Also, I took over the channel when I left the body shop, because it used to be called Midway Restorations. Yeah, I think it's what I had it called at one point. Because our body shop was Midway Collision. And I took over and created it as Joe Daddy's Garage. But I also I kind of put random stuff on. And it's still there. There's stuff I did from, I did Spartan races. There's probably just some random videos on there. I know my very first video is still on there. I will not remove that. And it is a goofy video. And I only did that just because it was a brand new thing to even put something on YouTube. And I said, that one's going to stay there. I don't care. But I would probably do stuff with better cameras and better editing. And I would probably have shown more of the actual work in the early videos. I know I had a tendency to just I would point and at something and talk about it. So I would hold the camera and I would point out in front of me and say, okay, I'm going to do this and this and this and this. And then I would do it, and then I would film it and say, okay, that's done. I'm going to move on. So I think it might have been even more beneficial for everybody in the earlier videos if I had gone specifically into detail doing the process. Like now, I'll film, like what I've been doing with the latest videos, I've actually gone to more time lapse. And a reason for that, there's a couple reasons. One, when I'm in here working, I want to have music playing. I love to have my 96 Rock, Bluetooth, iHeartRadio just cranked, going. Keeps me excited, music keeps me moving. So when I'm doing a video, I can't have that playing because, the camera picks that up. And I can't have that because YouTube puts a copyright strike on me. So what I've been doing now, more so, is creating a time lapse and then just doing a voiceover. I've been trying to avoid putting even any kind of music on, other than the first song you hear on my videos is something I created, so they can't take that away from me. But I've been leaning towards more of the time lapse and just doing a voiceover, and that way I can relate the information, and it's not maybe not as drawn out or boring. I don't know. It just kind of gives everybody, they can see what's happening and go along with it and go, oh, okay, I get it. So that's kind of what I've been doing now to try to help improve things. Hope that answers the question. Sometimes you get me on a tangent and I'm going to run with it. PR4470. Is your daughter a car girl, and does she drive or have a classic? She has a car. No, she's not a car girl. Not. Really, none of my kids are. I have 2 sons and a daughter. And while my sons probably appreciate more so what I'm doing with the cars, they're not into them. So it is what it is. Yeah, she just knows what I do. So good question. Terry Keithley, do you have any gobs left? I have 5. 5 left out of the box. Keep an inventory. That way if my wife eats one, I know it, and I can give her a hard time. Daryl Horvath, do you allow fellow airline employees to come visit you with our travel benefits? Wink, wink. Maybe not for a while until things settle down. Wink, wink. Yeah, I do. I've had people visit me from out west. I had somebody here a few weeks ago from, I think, Nevada. I've had some people that are local have come to visit. I've had visitors from Virginia, and I've had visitors from South Carolina and North Carolina and Florida, and yeah, we could definitely hook up. I'm not against it. Dave Britton, I remember watching you in the Spartan race. Yeah, it was a good time. I'm not doing that anymore. Jerry is checking in. Howdy, Barry. Howdy, y'all from Greenville, Spartansburg. Not here long. Just wanted to say hi. Say hi. Oh, Robert, I have some gobs for you when I get home. Okay. And not. Robert said, I guess she doesn't want me to pick her up at the train station tomorrow. Rude. Dave Tyson started following about 4 years ago. Wife's 66 Mustang. Okay. Nice. Rick, as long as you don't take her to the train station. Yeah. Daryl, I speak Canadian, though. That's okay. I have an interpreter. We can figure it out. Doyle, the first video I watched was replacing a fender lower section, which I learned and did both of mine. Thank you for your detailed instructions. Okay, that would have been the 68 on Jade as well. It's funny. There's a lot of stuff that I've done, like at the body shop and built and different things that never got filmed. Just because when I was working at the body shop, I was the heavy hitter. I did all the welding. I had to do all the frame pulls because it was a collision shop too. So I had to do all that stuff and manage other people and body work. And, there was a lot going on. So I couldn't always film things. But I tried. I tried as often as I could. Dawn, the wife and I will be cruising Route 66 in June. Haven't figured out how close we will need to you. At least it's back east. Okay. Well, all you really need to know is how close can you get to Atlanta is probably your your marker. Because if you can get to Atlanta, I can at least come meet you somewhere up there. And if you like food, there's a place called the OK Cafe. You can look that up. Look up OK Cafe. It's up in Atlanta. And you have to get the chicken pot pie. Just saying. Just saying. OK Cafe. Chicken pot pie. Mercury Man, getting close to installing my front windshield on my 65 Comet. I'll be looking up your video on that subject. Okay, good. Robert, biggest chunk of 66 is in Oklahoma. Maybe I'll meet you up there somewhere. There you go. Yeah, Don just needs to give us some updates where he's at. And who doesn't like food? Yeah. I'm telling you, look up OK Cafe. I will meet you there. I've met other people there just because I like to eat their food. Chicken pot pie. All their food is good. Trust me. Trust me on that. Awesome. We got 81 still watching. So hit the thumbs up, hit the like, all that sort of thing. I'm hoping that, I've got other people I haven't seen in a while. I mean, they're busy. I get it. There's several that I haven't seen in a while. And that's okay. That's okay. There's new people showing up. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing with this as often as I can. As I said, Monday nights at 7 o'clock. And I do appreciate everybody coming out here and just listen to me talk to myself, basically, for an hour and a half. But I'm getting ready to wrap up. We're almost done here. Even though I have a great group of people, still here, I'm going to have to wrap up here in a second. So, Richard, I also love the Patreon video of your trip back home. Being one of your patrons is money well spent. Thank you, sir. I do appreciate that. That was a video that I felt like is good for my patrons in particular, because obviously anybody who's supporting me on Patreon is more involved with me as a person and what I'm doing, and so that's why I shared it with Patreon. But yeah, it's tends to be bittersweet going back and seeing the old place and what's left of it, and it's like I mentioned it. So a friend of mine, I said it's like a time capsule, sort of, like the house. Unless they tear it down, nothing's ever going to change with that place. But I could still walk that land and probably point to where and identify where 80% of the cars were on that land, just from my memory of working on, or taking apart cars and all the time that I spent up there. I can still visualize where this car was and that car was and that car was, and all those sort of things. So it's always going to be in my head. Dawn says that would be cool, Robert. Yeah. So Dawn, let us know your route. Maybe we all get together, meet Dawn. All right. I'm gonna head in the house and get something to eat. Good night. We've had some good things to talk about. 80 people here watching. That's fantastic. Like I said, if you're watching my videos, leave a thumbs up and a comment. Share the videos if you can. That always helps. Just keep the ball rolling. So that'll be it for tonight. And I do plan to be back next Monday, the 28th, and at 7 o'clock. And I'm going to work on the video doing some sanding and buffing on the Cobra Jet, and hopefully have that up by Friday if I can. And hopefully my computer is up and running tomorrow and I can get it back. So otherwise, that'll be it for tonight. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.